Once there lived a young girl named Akwata. She was a student at a prestigious school, where she was known for her wit and charm. Akwata's best friend Auma came from a deeply religious family who were devotee followers of the local Pentecostal church. Every Sunday, Auma's parents insisted on attending the church service, which often extended into the afternoon with long prayers and singing. One Saturday evening, Auma invited Akwata to join her family at the church next day. Akwata, however, was not keen on spending her Sunday in a lengthy church service. She quickly fabricated a story about having a date with a cute boy from another town, hoping Auma would understand and let her off the hook. Auma, being the good friend she was, accepted Akwata's excuse without much thought. The next day, instead of going to church, Akwata spent the entire day at home, listening to music and binge-watching her favorite shows. She felt a bit guilty for lying, but was relieved to have avoided the church service. When Monday morning came, Auma was eager to hear about Akwata's date. As they walked together to school, Auma asked for every detail. Caught off guard and without a real story to tell, Akwata hesitated before spinning an elaborate tale. She described how she had met a charming young man. Auma, intrigued, pressed Akwata for more details, and Akwata, feeling cornered, went further with the lie. She claimed that the date had ended with a passionate kiss, and that things went further and she lost her virginity to him. Auma was shocked, but didn't say anything at the time, instead letting her curiosity linger. Unbeknownst to Akwata, another student, Kira, who was known for her strict religious views, overheard their conversation. Kira was a member of the school's Christian fellowship group. She was dedicated to maintaining high moral standards among the students. Disturbed by what she heard, Kira couldn't resist spreading the news. By lunchtime, the entire school was buzzing with the news of Akwata's disgusting act. The story had grown with each retelling, with students adding their own soup to the story. Some claimed that Akwata had spent the night with a random boy, while others whispered that she had lost her virginity to 5 boys. Kira, disgusted by Akwata, decided to take matters into her own hands. She called a meeting of the Christian fellowship group, where they discussed how they could save Akwata from what they saw as immoral behavior. Led by Kira, the group decided to confront Akwata and bring her back to the right path. They sat her down and surrounded her, praying in tongues so that the demon in her could come out. The pressure on Akwata grew as more students began to treat her differently. She felt isolated and confused, unsure of how to handle the situation she had unwittingly created. Overwhelmed by the spreading rumors, Akwata decided to confide in her friend Kato. Kato was one of the few people at the school who didn't judge easily, but had his own struggles. When Akwata told Kato the truth, that she had lied about the entire story of losing her virginity, Kato listened with understanding. He knew what it was like to feel pressured to fit in. After a moment of silence, Kato shared his own secret. He was being bullied because some students believed he was gay, and he didn't know how to make them stop. Desperate to help each other, Kato proposed a solution. He asked Akwata to pretend to be his girlfriend, thinking that this would stop the bullying against him. Akwata, feeling guilty about her own situation, agreed to the plan. They hoped that by appearing as a couple, they could put an end to the rumors and gossip that were tearing them both apart. That weekend, there was an Interact Club party at the school. Kato and Akwata decided to attend the party together, hoping to put their plan into action. As they walked into the crowded hall, heads turned and whispers began to circulate. At the party, they sat close to each other, doing their best to sell the idea that they were now a couple. The other students watched them closely, and the gossip began to shift focus. Some started to believe that Kato and Akwata were genuinely together, while others remained skeptical but were at least distracted from the previous rumors. The plan seemed to be working, and for the first time in days, Akwata felt a bit of relief. She and Kato laughed and danced together, forgetting their problems for a few hours. But little did they know, the consequences of their deception were only just the beginning. Despite the apparent success of their plan, Akwata's relationship with her best friend Auma began to suffer. Auma noticed the changes in Akwata's behavior and felt hurt that her best friend had not confided in her about her new relationship with Kato. Auma had always been open with Akwata, sharing every detail of her life, and she felt betrayed that Akwata had kept something so significant from her. One afternoon, after school, Auma confronted Akwata. "Why didn't you tell me about you and Kato?" she demanded. "I thought we shared everything." Akwata, feeling cornered and ashamed, lashed out defensively. "Maybe I didn't tell you because you judged me too much," she snapped, knowing it wasn't true but not knowing what else to say. The argument quickly escalated, with both girls saying things that they would later regret. Auma stormed off, and Akwata was left feeling alone than ever. The once close bond between the two friends seemed to be irreparably damaged. Akwata felt a mix of anger and sadness. She decided that if everyone already believed that she was a certain way, she might as well play the part. She began dressing more provocatively and acting in ways that shocked her classmates. It was her way of taking control of the narrative that had spiraled out of her hands. Boys who had previously ignored her now flocked to her, hoping to boost their own reputations by associating with her. Some even offered her gifts and money in exchange of allowing them to claim that they had slept with her. Feeling bitter and wanting to take advantage of the situation, Akwata accepted their offers. However, this new behavior only deepened her isolation. While she gained material benefits, she lost the respect of many of her peers. Akwata began to feel like a stranger in her own life, trapped by the lies she had told and the persona she had adopted. Meanwhile, the head boy, who was known for being serious and strict in school, suddenly contracted gonorrhea. When his friends questioned him, he panicked and, desperate to avoid suspicion, blamed Akwata for his condition. The rumor that Akwata had given him gonorrhea spread quickly. It was whispered that she had been with many boys and that she was dangerous to be around. Akwata was devastated when she heard the accusations, but before she could defend herself, the school's Christian fellowship group led by Kira decided to intervene. They believed that Akwata's supposed actions were a sign of moral corruption and that she needed to be expelled from the school. Kira, who never liked Akwata, saw this as the perfect opportunity to get rid of her once and for all. As the harassment from the Christian fellowship group intensified, Akwata found herself increasingly isolated. As she cried, she was approached by Agaba, her best friend Auma's boyfriend, and the chairperson of the Christian fellowship group. Agaba comforted Akwata, patting her back. Though she was angry, she let him comfort her, hoping for some kindness. But as the evening went on, Agaba's true intentions became clear. He made it obvious that he expected more from Akwata than just her company, saying that he wanted her to sleep with him since she slept with every other boy in school. When Akwata refused, Agaba tried to bribe her with money, but Akwata, feeling disgusted because of her best friend's boyfriend, left the school immediately. Angry at being rejected, Agaba decided to spread a new rumor, claiming that Akwata had seduced him and they had slept together. The story quickly reached Auma. Feeling betrayed, Auma confronted Agaba about his story. He confidently assured her that it was true and even exaggerated the details to make Akwata look worse. Auma, hurt and confused, didn't know what to believe anymore. She chose to believe Agaba and decided that Akwata had gone too far. Determined to teach Akwata a lesson, Auma gathered a group of boys at school. She convinced them that Akwata needed to be put in her place, and they agreed to help. They found Akwata alone near the school field. The group led by Auma surrounded her and began to taunt and threaten her. Auma slapped her as she was held by the boys. A crowd of students gathered to watch, some cheering on the group, others standing back in shock. Akwata, terrified, tried to explain herself, but her words were drowned out by the noise of the crowd. The situation escalated quickly. The group became more aggressive, pushing and shoving Akwata as they hurled insults at her. It seemed like the entire school had turned against her, and she realized with a sinking heart that no one was going to come to her defense. Even Auma, her best friend, stood on the sidelines, watching as Akwata was humiliated. In the middle of the chaos, Akwata suddenly had a moment of clarity. She realized that she couldn't keep running from the lies she had told. If she was going to regain control of her life, she needed to face the truth, no matter how painful it was. Gathering her courage, she shouted for everyone to stop. Her voice, filled with desperation and determination, silenced the crowd. All eyes were on her as she began to speak. Akwata confessed to everyone that the rumors were based on lies that she had told out of fear and insecurity. She explained how the lie had spiraled out of control, leading to all the confusion. She then turned to Auma, tears in her eyes, and begged her to tell the truth. Akwata knew that Auma was the key to clearing her name. The crowd waited in tense silence, watching Auma's reaction. But Auma kept quiet with no intention of speaking up. Akwata then shouted, "Auma slept with the head boy and gave him gonorrhea. I didn't give him gonorrhea because I didn't sleep with him." The crowd gasped in shock as Akwata confessed. Everyone turned to look at Auma. "No, she's lying, that's not true," Auma said. Agaba looked at Auma in shock, realizing that he had tried to be a player, but his own girlfriend had played him. Akwata then looked at the head boy, asking him to tell the truth, but he also denied. She then asked to go to the school clinic and check who of them has gonorrhea. The students agreed, but Auma hesitated. Agaba looked at Auma, who looked guilty, asking whether it was true. Auma also turned to him, asking whether it was true that Akwata had seduced him and slept with him, or was he just making up stories. The students were now fired up as the drama was getting spicier. Akwata looked at both Auma and Agaba plus all the other boys, asking them to tell the truth. Auma knew that she had been wrong to believe Agaba without questioning his story, but admitting the truth would mean embarrassing herself and facing humiliation from the students from then on. After a long moment of silence, Auma took a deep breath and stepped forward. She confessed that she had believed Agaba's lies because she was hurt and angry with Akwata. Auma told the crowd that none of the rumors were true and that Akwata had been unfairly blamed for things she didn't do. She confessed that she had transmitted the gonorrhea to the head boy after her boyfriend Agaba had transmitted it to her, and she asked Akwata to take the blame to save her image. The students gasped in shock. Kato also came out and confessed that he hadn't slept with Akwata, and they just lied to the boys to stop calling him gay. The crowd murmured in surprise, and the atmosphere began to change. Students who had once been part of the harassment now looked ashamed, and the tension in the air started to dissipate. Agaba, realizing his plan had backfired, tried to defend himself, but the damage was already done. With Auma's confession, the other boys who had claimed to have been with Akwata started to falter. They began to admit that they had lied to boost their own reputations. None of them had ever slept with Akwata. One by one they began to apologize, but the damage had been done. The reputation they had tarnished was not so easily restored. The students jeered at the boys for spreading such lies about their fellow student. Kira, who had been watching from the sidelines, also stepped forward. She admitted that she had let her dislike for Akwata guide her actions, and she realized now that she had hurt an innocent person. Kira publicly apologized to Akwata, though she knew it would take time to make amends. Akwata, still shaken, was relieved that the truth was finally out. But the headmaster, who had been watching from a distance, had noted down all the names of the involved parties. He shouted, asking them all to meet for a quick assembly. He and other teachers caned all the students involved in the drama, whether they had apologized or not. He only excluded Akwata. The crowd dispersed, and Akwata was left alone, reflecting on everything that had happened. The next day at school, things were different. Akwata noticed that the students who had once gossiped about her were now avoiding eye contact, embarrassed by their actions. Auma, feeling deep regret for her role in the events, approached Akwata with a sincere apology. She explained that she had been hurt by the changes in their friendship and that her emotions had driven her to make poor decisions. Akwata, understanding the complexities of their friendship, forgave Auma, but she knew it would take time for their bond to heal. Kato, who had remained a supportive friend throughout the ordeal despite having received canes at the assembly, reassured Akwata that she was not alone. Akwata was grateful for Kato's friendship, knowing that he had stood by her when no one else did. Over the following weeks, Akwata worked hard to rebuild her reputation. She focused on her studies and stayed away from the drama that had consumed her for a long time. Slowly, she began to feel like herself again, though the experience had changed her in profound ways. Aoma and Akwata's friendship, though not so close as before, began to mend. They both learned valuable lessons about honesty, the consequences of lies, and the importance of standing up for the truth. The school eventually moved on from the scandal, with news stories and rumors circulating. But for Akwata, the experience remained a powerful reminder of the importance of truth, forgiveness, and the strength that comes from facing one's mistakes. The end. So guys, what do you think of this story? Did you like this story, guys? Then don't forget to like this video. Please subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you're notified every time I post new videos. Stay tuned, guys, for my next video. Thank you for watching.